What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so before I get into this video, I want to give a big shout out to the brother Daryl Sloan for the donations to the channel via the Cash App. Much respect to him for showing love to Too Raw for TV. All right, so um, earlier this year, I did a comparison between John Havlicek and Dwyane Wade. And it was my opinion that Dwyane Wade, although he is an all-time great, I think a lot of the new age media, or this media, um, they try their best because they really don't have historical knowledge when it comes to basketball or sports in general. So what they do is to justify their ignorance, they just do everything they can to negate the greatness of players in the past. They over promote, and they have a financial motivation to do this because they're just basically hype men and cheerleaders for this product that they're trying to promote, the NBA. So they will do everything they can to push out the players of the past and promote this hot garbage that's out there masquerading as supposed great NBA all-time basketball. Now, I'm not trying to lump Dwyane Wade into that. He's not. He's an all-time great. But I don't think he's better than John Havlicek, and I want to reiterate that point today. Okay? Dwyane Wade played from 2003 to I think 2019. So he played about 16 seasons. He played for the Miami Heat, Chicago Bulls, Cleveland Cavaliers. And as far as his resume is concerned, it's impressive. 3-time NBA champion, 2006 NBA Finals MVP, 13-time NBA All-Star. Matter of fact, maybe I should do this to emphasize my point more. Let's bring up John Havlicek. John Havlicek also played 16 seasons. All of his career from 1962 to 1978 was with the Boston Celtics. Dwyane Wade played shooting guard. John Havlicek played shooting guard and small forward. But generally, you consider him a small forward. So look, Wade's a 3-time NBA champion. John Havlicek was an 8-time NBA champion. Now, there going to be some that can say, well, 6 of those 8 championships came on those great Bill Russell Celtics teams. That's a fair point. But you also have to take into account that 2 of Wade's championships came when he played on a super team of his own, the Heatles, with LeBron, Ramon James, and Chris Bosh, and some other great role players. And he willingly ceded control of the offense, although that was the best thing to do because it wouldn't have worked because LeBron, Ramon James couldn't play off the ball to save his life back then. But he willingly gave control of the team to LeBron, Ramon James. So he became a role player. So he wasn't the best player on 2 of those 3 championship teams. So we can't do that with Hondo, but not with Wade as well. Okay. Wade was a Finals MVP. John Havlicek, 1974 Finals MVP. But to be fair, that award was not created until 1969, and it's believed by many basketball historians that Havlicek probably would have won at least 4 to 5 possible Finals MVPs, 3 likely Finals MVPs, had an award existed from the time his career began. Wade was a 13-time All-Star. Hondo Havlicek was a 13-time All-Star. Wade, 2-time All-NBA first team. Hondo, 4 times All-NBA first team. Now, Wade was All-Star Game MVP back in 2010. Havlicek was never All-Star MVP, so that's a feather in Wade's cap. Hondo, 7 times All-NBA second team. Wade, 3 times All-NBA second team, 3 times All-NBA third team. There was no such thing as a third team when Hondo Havlicek played. So, you got to keep that in mind. Maybe he'll been on more of those All-NBA teams. Hondo, in my opinion, the second greatest defensive small forward behind Scottie Pippen of all time. Wade, not shabby in that department. He's all-time leader in blocks as far as shooting guards are concerned. But I think most people would definitely rank Hondo ahead of Dwyane Wade. Hondo, 5 times All-NBA first team, 3 times All-NBA second team. Wade, 3 All-Defensive second team selections. So that pretty much add to the body. Wade, scoring champion 2009, All-NBA rookie first team, 75th anniversary team, number 3 retired by the Miami Heat. To finish off, Hondo, All-NBA, All-Rookie First Team, 1963. NBA anniversary teams, 35th, 50th, and 75th. Number 17 retired by the Boston Celtics. Wade finished with 23,165 points, 4,933 rebounds, 5,701 assists. Hondo Havlicek, 26,395 points, all-time leading scorer for the Boston Celtics, although that might change eventually with Jason Tatum. We got to see 8,007 rebounds, 6,114 assists. So look, when it comes to scoring, as I said, Havlicek had more points. Wade, however, has a slightly higher scoring average, I believe. Hondo 20.8, Wade 22. But we also have to keep in mind that Havlicek did not become a full-time starter until the 1969-70 season. That is 7 to 8 years into his NBA career. So that skewed his numbers a little bit. And by the way, I still think that Hondo was the greatest sixth man the game has ever seen. When it comes to ball handling, you got to give Wade the edge. Though you have to also remember that when Hondo Havlicek played, the rules were so strict with ball handling that it looks awkward and inferior looking through the scope of today. But you got to remember, these guys were really handicapped with what they could do with handling the ball. Young Thundercats don't seem to be understanding that. It's like it goes in one ear out the other, like we make an excuse. But, they want to, facts. People just don't want to hear the facts anymore. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to hear the facts. Let's look at this, though. When it comes to strength, Hondo Havlicek has the edge. When it comes to endurance, it's not even close. That was one of the edges that Hondo had. He had extraordinarily large lungs, and I think a larger than average heart. Not pathologically large, but it was just larger than normal. And this allowed him to have more endurance than the average human, which, of course, gave him an advantage down the stretch of games. This guy was playing like 40, 45, 48 minutes a game. That's something the players can't even fathom doing today. They break down playing 35 minutes a game. Hustle, John Havlicek. Durability, Hondo Havlicek. 1,270 games played during 16 seasons, not even close. Free throw percentage, the edge goes to Hondo. Win shares, Hondo has a significant lead over Wade in that department. I just want to make sure that we double check. Dwyane Wade had 120.7 career win shares. Hondo Havlicek, when it comes to win shares, give me 1 second here. So that's Wade 120.7. Hondo Havlicek 131.7. And that comes with half his career being a guy coming off the bench. So, PER. Now, this is where Wade has a distinct advantage. His PER, 23.5. Hondo's is 17.5, I believe. Now, not trying to make an excuse, but remember, For virtually all of his career until 1973-74, blocks and steals weren't counted. So that's taking a big hit into his PER. I suspect if you put if he was counting blocks and steals, and yeah, turnovers would be added too, but I think that'd be canceled out by block and steals, obviously. Because I don't remember Hondo being a guy who had a reputation for being a turnover prone player. I think if you add blocks and steals, his PR would be well over 20. I don't know. I can't give it a number, but 21, 22. I think Wade still had the advantage in PR, but 3-point shooting and some of the other things. Some of these guys get uh, assists and all that. But I think Hondo would definitely be higher in that department. Playmaking, passing, I give it edge to Wade, though Hondo was good in that aspect. Leadership, I give it to Hondo. You know, uh, when you let a guy come on your team like LeBron James and you just willingly become subservient, I mean, it is what it is. Wade, like I said, won 2 rings as the second best player on the team, whereas Hondo Havlicek won 2 rings as the best player on the team. Um, and then, of course, he won 8 championships altogether, 8-0 in the NBA Finals. I didn't even add that part into it until the end. 8-0 in the NBA Finals. That should count for something. Plus, Hondo's statue is not nearly as ugly as Dwyane Wade's. You know, so all in all, I got to give it to Hondo Havlicek. Now I know the field goal percentage isn't all that great with Hondo, 43.9%, but there's some things you got to look at. The era which he played in, spacing wasn't as great. Um, more resistance at the basket. Although Wade came into the NBA with traditional centers, that didn't really start changing until about 2010, 2011. But still, mid-range, Wade, and athleticism, Wade, driving, Wade. Um, Although I got to say this, Hondo was a great athlete. He probably couldn't jump as high as Wade, prime for prime, but this is a guy that was a two-sport star. Remember, I told you, at least we have forgotten this, the Cleveland Browns wanted to draft Hondo Havlicek, but he decided to focus on his basketball career, and he went to play basketball at Boston. So this is a guy that could have played in the NFL. So all this cap about plumbers, and I told you Danny Ainge was a 3-sport star in high school. He played basketball, he played football and baseball. He played for the Toronto Blue Jays, I believe it was. He played for Major League Baseball, not the farm team, which is good enough. He played in Major League Baseball. But you got nitwits like Gilbert Arenas who will say that Michael Jordan or all these guys were plumbers. They don't know what they're talking about. Will Chamberlain beat Jim Brown in a foot race. Jim Brown, of all people, Jim Brown. So they don't know what the hell they're talking about, man. When it comes to historical stuff, but when it comes to the game, yeah, they know basketball. But when it comes to other stuff, they just be talking. And sometimes they do it on purpose. 3-point shooting is hard to say because there was no 3-point line. But I mean, Wade was never a great 3-point shooter, so it's probably at best a wash. Who knows? You look at free throw shooting, you would probably get the edge to Hondo. I mean, I could see him probably being a decent 3-point shooter. And he'd probably be an improved shooter anyway. I mean, if he was playing today. But yeah, overall, when you look at resume, when you look at accomplishments, yes, championships, reputation. I didn't even say clutch, but Hondo, of course, on both ends of the floor. He's known for his offensive greatness and defensive greatness in those situations. So at the end of the day, I think I give it to Hondo, man. I don't think it's particularly close. Wade is generally seen as what? A top 25, 30 player. I think Hondo is seen as a top 20, maybe 25 player. I think still. Uh, so at the end of the day, yeah, I give it to Hondo Havlicek, man. But anyway, tell me what you guys think. Oh, by the way, one other thing I want to point out. Dwyane Wade would have never won another championship had he not colluded with LeBron James and Chris Bosh, right? Because we all know they really wanted Carmelo Anthony, but he went to get the money, so they got Chris Bosh. Hondo Havlicek had to prove to be a great player that he had to win and lead a team to a championship on his own. Okay, he was doing it with a super team with Bill Russell, but then when Bill Russell and Sam Jones retired and all those other great players faded from the scene, John Havlicek, along with, I gotta, give his props, Dave Cowens and some other good players, they had to prove they could win. And they won 2 championships. And they probably would have won 3 had Hondo not got hurt in the 1973 season. They lost in the conference finals. I think it was the conference finals, I believe it was, to the Knicks. They won 68 games that year, most all time, more than the 86 Celtics. Dave Cowens was league MVP. Tom Heisen was coach of the year, who was the coach of the Celtics at that time. That team probably would have won a championship. And had they won a championship, that would have been back-to-back championships for 73 and 74. And then you're talking about Hondo being 9-0 in the NBA Finals, 9 championships. So he did that. And I would also say that Boston played against tougher competition overall, But anyway, and I mean in the Havlicek era when he was winning in the 70s. But anyway, that's all I got to say about it. Tell me what you guys think.